Hello, everybody. Welcome to Pushing 40-Bit. I'm Cynic Placebo.
I'm Klipper.
I'm Frosty.
And unless anyone's worried about it, don't worry, I'm not drinking liquor. This is just balls. So,
Is that better?
Like pure caffeine.
not a brand sponsor, but
Pure
anyway.
caffeine.
That's right. Today we're playing Titanfall 2. So, see the lovely case. Not going to use that anymore. All right. Titanfall 2 was by Respawn Entertainment, and part of the reason we're playing this is because we're all tentatively excited about what Respawn Entertainment's going to do with the new Star Wars campaign-based game. So, fingers crossed that we don't greatly regret this episode in a while.
and remember, Titanfall 1 was multiplayer only. There was no campaign
Yes.
whatsoever, and we all bought it, a year or two after it came out?
first one?
Yeah.
Yeah, the first one.
Yeah.
Because we wanted to play at a LAN party, right? And I remember we tried to play it online, and it was a ghost town online.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember even trying.
Yeah, it was a ghost town. We waited for 8 minutes for a match, and then when we got in, it was all the people that were really good and didn't want to
Yeah.
lose all that time they'd ground into it. So
Yeah, we just got destroyed.
I remember having fun with it at LAN parties,
Yeah.
but I didn't remember there being any sort of story. And in fact, when this opens and it opens in space, I was like, this is set in space? Like, for some reason, I thought Titanfall was just on Earth in the future.
Oh no, yeah,
And
there's frontier
I was
planets
like,
and all that.
I didn't remember anything from the first game, really. So.
Yeah, I didn't capture any of the lore when I played through it,
Yeah.
and so I am glad they added campaign to this, but they did add it as an afterthought. So they were primarily focused on multiplayer, and I mean, rightly so. They did win the best online multiplayer of that year by whatever organization likes to hand out shiny things. But so this came out in 2016 again by Respawn Entertainment, produced or published by EA. And it runs on Valve's Source Engine, which I want to talk about later.
Yeah,
But
I'd forgotten that until I looked that up.
yeah. And then surprisingly, it only sold about a fourth as much as Titanfall 1. But eventually now, all said and done years later, it has sold about 4 million copies. So, I mean, it has been a success, but a slow burn success.
Well, I'm sure a lot of people played Titanfall 1, realized it was multiplayer only, watched the community just tank on it, and then be like, well, I'm not going to get sucked into that again.
Yeah.
So maybe the campaign was, hey, here's some staying power in the game, maybe?
Yeah.
Maybe that's why they put it in?
Well, that's what it looked like when I was reading stuff on the wiki, that the reason they put that in was they wanted to bring in other people into the game that maybe weren't interested in that first one, the people that like single-player games. Which is crazy, because I don't remember that ever happening, where something was multiplayer only and then they added a campaign to it. It's usually the other way around. They add multiplayer and end up dropping the campaign from future iterations.
Yeah.
Like the Call of Duties, especially.
Oh, yeah.
Call of Duty 2 is maybe one of my favorites of all time. Like, the campaign of that was awesome.
The Modern Warfare, Call of Duty 4's Modern Warfare campaign was fantastic.
Yeah.
And then we watched them just slowly erode away, which,
Yeah.
again, coming full circle to this podcast, is there is absolutely an audience for this.
Sure.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, the people that are buying a campaign copy of the game, you're going to only ever buy one copy, right?
Right.
Whereas the people that are buying a multiplayer copy, they're more likely to gift it to a friend, and they're more likely to cheat, get banned, and get a new Smurf account. So, they're buying multiple copies.
Which is funny, peek behind the curtain again, right now the Steam sale just finished up, right? I wonder how many copies of, Counter-Strike were bought, or how many, Smurf copies were okay, I got 8 more copies of CS, so I can get banned 7 more times, right?
Probably. Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me.
I never thought of that, but I'm I bought it once and have never bought any of those again. But
Yeah. Well, we're not cheaters. So.
that's true.
See, I buy almost everything 3 times because I've got my account, my wife's account, and then the shared kids account, and so we can all play certain games together. So I don't buy everything 3 times, but the games that I know that we'll play together, I buy 3 times.
And then you're I better get a GOG copy in case Steam goes away.
That's right. They're getting their solid pound of flesh out of me. But,
That's right.
All right. So we can jump right into the plot, I guess. I thought the plot was pretty cool. There are a lot of characters, and so just kind of a quick summary of the main characters. Jack Cooper, voiced by Matt Mercer. Man, I'm going to get flamed to crap now. Matt Mercer, who is quite popular.
He's
the main character.
McCree in
Yep.
Overwatch.
And he does the Critical Role D&D stuff that's super popular.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, does
Absolutely.
it? Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, he's in a bunch of stuff, but
But
he's very
speaking of that
popular.
character, we'll pause right there. It was so awesome not to be a pilot. You were just some lowly grunt, crappy rifleman who's doing training, which the training seemed clandestine. It seemed like he wasn't supposed to be trained.
The guy's kind of training you, behind the scenes or under, I guess, without the authorization of the superior people.
Right.
And I'm so sick in every game. It's you are this awesome hero that is just wickedly awesome. No, you are rifleman number whatever. You were completely worthless. That was kind of a fun night.
What I like too, the game, because it starts out like that, you're in the middle of your ship and it crashes, But you don't even see what causes the crash.
You have no
like
idea.
you are, you're just this guy, and it's like it's very, I don't know, realistic is the word, but typical that if you are just a lowly rifleman, you wouldn't know really what was going on. Just it's crashing, get to an escape pod because something's happening.
You were a cog in the machine, and that's all you need to know.
And for somebody like me that barely played the first one at all, right? Like this is really dropped in the middle of existing lore. You don't know much. Here's a little bit, and go, right? Like not tons of exposition that you got to slog through. It's just almost immediately action, and it'll reveal as you go, which I thought was fun.
Yeah.
And the opening cinematic was wicked awesome.
Yeah,
like it showed highlighted pilot skills, and it's kind of this join the pilot ranks recruiting video, so to speak. It's like they see the battlefield differently, and I'm like, I'm just trying to not die.
Yeah.
I expected as Starship Troopers. Click to learn more.
Yeah,
it did. Yeah, very much seemed like that. Jack Cooper is the most generic name ever, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
I wished he had a cool call sign,
You got to be careful with that, though, right? I mean, you
fainting goat or something.
you can get producers though that are too opinionated, and then you end up with a movie like that Jack Black movie Johnny Skidmark, right, where he's trying to convince the producers, don't call it Johnny Skidmark. That means butt stains. And he's like, no, it doesn't. It's just a cool name for burnout. And so you got to be careful because you get old people in charge, and they're going to pick the cool names, and there might be a problem.
I felt so generic. You are Jack Cooper. It's okay. I'm John Jones or just some just worthless name.
The widest name ever.
So did you remember your name, or did you have to look it up after the game?
I remembered.
I remembered it.
Really?
Yeah, because everyone calls me Cooper.
I was like, what? I was like John Smith or something.
And Pocahontas was my Titan. I remember Jack Cooper because I kept calling myself Jack Bauer. I'm like, these events happen in real time in the frontier.
I never take a bathroom break.
All right. So Jack Cooper getting clandestinely trained by Captain Ty Lastimosa, which, if you know any Spanish, that's grief or sadness, his last name, which is a little appropriate since...
I didn't put that together.
Yeah, he saves you, gets sacrificed, and gives you his Titan, which is BT-7274, which we're just going to call BT because that's all they ever call him.
Mm-hmm.
Which, it's really funny that we all speak Spanish and only one of us made that connection.
Oh, yeah?
I didn't make it either.
I didn't think of that at all.
Well, they kind of gloss over his name. They don't say it a whole bunch. Again, I had to look it up after the fact.
Well,
I was like, who is that guy that sacrificed you and was training you? Oh, Lastimosa.
He's dead within 5 minutes. So
Yeah.
It's not a name that gets repeated much.
Yeah, he was gone pretty quick. Though if you hover over him, it does say his name. So I think I did vaguely recognize it at that point. I think I made a joke in my stream or something, but yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, it's his mech. He's in the SRS Force, which stands for Special Recon Squadron.
That's a fantastic name. Who are the marketing people or the writers who are Jack Cooper, Special Recon?
And then the acronym's really close to pig flu or whatever, right? SARS.
Yeah.
SIRS. Don't worry, you won't get swine flu. But,
so yeah, jumping into the story, your ship crashed for no reason, which is awesome. You don't know why or whatever.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You
just that you are assaulting a enemy planet.
Yeah, really all you need to know.
Yeah,
and they kind of alluded to events in the first game, we've won some battles, we've started to push the IMF, I guess is the bad guys. It's
IMC.
I kept wanting to say IMF.
Yeah, that's the Impossible Mission Force.
Yeah, I did that. I did that all the time, thinking about it. Yeah.
So yeah, we're trying to.
So IMC is Interstellar Manufacturing Corporation, which I didn't know until I looked it up.
So it's the Trade Federation from Star Wars.
Oh no.
That's funny. We're coming full circle. IMF Jack, isn't the guy's name from Mission Impossible Jack something?
Ethan Hunt.
Yeah. That,
wow, I'm totally off.
I can't remember.
Anyway, so you crash land. Don't know why. What is that? The worst escape pod on Earth? You crash and you're hurt already.
Yeah.
What kind of escape pod is that?
It seems like that way in most games, right? And you had there were other escape pods that were hanging from cliffs and stuff like that, and everybody's dead inside of them, right?
Yeah,
but Halo 3 was the same way, and what's the other one I'm thinking of? It not Rage. It came out at the same time as Rage. I can't remember, but there's a bunch like that where you escape pod, you land, and half the people are dead, right?
So can we get some R&D money into escape pods? Because it seems like every game is having this problem, right?
Yeah.
See, you crash. You're getting your butt kicked. You're assaulting for a bit, and then something happens to you, and the Lastimosa comes in and all say, "Hey, there you are, my little buddy, my little training buddy," stabs you with some unknown substance
in a weird spot,
in the middle of combat, and says, "You're probably gonna fall asleep right now. It'll be okay." And I'm like, "Okay, well, good night."
You can't defend yourself. Good luck.
It was Adam. He was pulling us from another dimension in Bioshock's Columbia. So, just injecting us with it.
They're all in the same universe.
There we go.
Of course, everything, anything that can be in the same universe is in the same universe.
And then you see some relatively small attacks to BT, the Titan, and it's suddenly incapacitated.
Yeah.
Like very minor attacks.
Well, though there were 2 other Titans, at least that were attacking, because afterward they showed 2 of the people that do man Titans.
Or did he just run out of battery power? Like, he wasn't charged enough at the beginning?
Yeah, I don't know. It just
but
seems like
Lastimosa was dying, though, so, I mean, clearly somehow he got hurt, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
But you did fall asleep, so, I mean, maybe it happened during that time.
Yeah.
But when you're in BT, there's no holes in him. Like, you think if something punctured him and killed him, there'd be a hole in your Titan, maybe?
Lastimosa actually died of natural causes. It just happened to.
Lastimosa had a heart defect at birth. One thing led to another. You had inherited his Titan. And then you get to enjoy the wonderful experience that I like to call a trip to Radio Shack. Which is, BT's like, I need a battery. Okay, I'll go get you a battery. You give it to him and he goes, I need another battery.
I can't even stand up. Yeah.
Well, and you skipped over getting dragged away by Skags, right?
Oh, yeah.
What were the Skags from Borderlands doing there? That was
Well, and they kind of only show up on that first level. You don't really see. There's the other ones where they're in cages.
And when you're doing the time shifting, they're there.
Yeah.
Right? But they felt very forgettable, which I didn't love. It felt like the only alien life because there's robot enemies, there's soldier enemies, and then there's these Skag things. But I kind of forgot about them until I rewatched my gameplay to prepare for today.
Yeah, it could have been more interesting if they showed up more, or that there was other types of those creatures, or
they were jump scaring more,
Sure.
or something, just something to make you remember
Yeah.
them more.
I almost expected when I saw those Skags to hear Scooter, get your ride!
Would have made it so much better.
Or TK Baja, right? I mean, he's the first Skag mission, right?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
TK
there we
Baja.
go.
It's sad. We've played all these games. We just mention one name. It's like, oh yeah, TK Baja.
That's what you tune in for, right?
Good
Random men
memories.
randomly doing noun association.
That's right.
We're good at that.
So, kind of that's how the game was started. It was kind of fun that I like the dynamic where you had, he basically gave you his helmet and his armor, and now you were a pilot because you got all
His
his
jetpack.
and his jetpack, but it had to recalculate to your weight and your kind of method of using it. That was just kind of fun.
And how you wanted to jump off of walls and stuff, like the scans that said the more you did the parkour, the more it would adjust you. Who knows if it actually did that in the gameplay?
Yeah,
but
I don't know.
At least claimed it, which was cool.
Yeah, kind of a neat.
And I liked the Ghost Runner, right? If you got stuck in a section, it was like, instead of an arrow, it's like, okay, here's something that's more logical for what we might have, right? This is a way that you, the pilot, can use our AI to see how you could get past this obstacle, also known as which obstacle am I supposed to be aiming at, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
And it was nice because I could see a lot of those places. It wasn't very intuitive where you were supposed to go. Not linear. The missions are linear, but the maps aren't so much.
Yeah, it reminded me a lot of the opening levels of Crysis, where they do feel a lot more open, even though it is linear. There is an open feel to it.
Right.
Yeah.
I felt the same way.
And especially, I love that first mission, the variety of guns you find in the first mission.
Yeah.
You find almost all the guns that are in the whole rest of the game.
And they're notably distinct from one another,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Thank you, Respawn, or is it Respawn? Yeah, Respawn, for putting that in where the guns actually have variety.
Yeah.
I am so tired of, well, that's an M16, well, that's an M4, well, that's a G36. They all shoot the same.
Yeah.
You can't tell the difference. These were noticeably different.
And I like, too, that every time you picked one up, it has the little description of what it is.
Yeah.
So you did not have to remember the names or the silhouettes of them. You could just pick it up and, okay, yeah, that's the SMG that, is a burst, and I don't really like that, so I'm going to drop it and pick up something else.
And you dropped your gun, then you can go pick up the one you just dropped, didn't want to lose that one.
Yeah.
So what was your favorite gun?
Spitfire.
Is that the
hard hit? It's something with a punch, is how it was described.
I use that one a lot.
It's your standard.
I liked the DMR a lot.
I loved the
DMR.
That was my favorite.
And the laser gun that the robots had.
Yeah, the laser gun was fantastic, but I always just burned through the ammo so quick.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I'm remembering that one.
It's called the Pulse something. It shot like a little red energy ball. All the
Somehow I missed this.
All the robots
carried it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it hurt.
Interesting.
It was basically the gun you carry in your back pocket full of ammo because you don't want to waste it, and then you get to the end of the game I never shot it.
I see. I kept swapping out guns left and right. Like I liked the I think it was called the Harbinger. That was one I'd pick up a lot. Right, but the DMR was bar none my favorite. I'd swap it out when the ammo was getting low for sure,
Yeah.
but it was just so fun. It packed a
Yeah.
punch. It was accurate. I loved it.
Yeah.
I like that one a lot. What I would do is I always make sure my primary was something that could do full auto. So either the Spitfire or the laser gun did full auto also. And then the secondary I would just constantly switch out. Like use a shotgun for a bit, sniper for a bit, rocket launcher, grenade launcher for a bit.
Oh yeah, that shotgun was mean. I
It
liked
was
that.
fun to use a
Yeah,
shotgun.
yeah.
How many times have I played a game where I pick up a shotgun, but garbage, just like every other
Yeah.
game?
Well, it's not every other game. I would say there's a solid quarter of games where I like the shotgun, right? Half-Life and Half-Life
Okay,
2 have
I'll
a
give you
solid
that-
shotgun.
I'll give you that one.
Yeah.
Or even well, not so much Left 4 Dead, but there are games that have a
Doom
decent
has a good shotgun.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
But it's definitely the minority. Most shotguns have way too much spread. I don't
Well,
love them.
it's also a lot about the level dynamics, and if
Absolutely.
you can get close to people, or if you are
Absolutely.
just sniping the whole time, then shotgun can be worthless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This provided both, and so it was nice to have a long range, and the shotgun was great for closer stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which, as much as I think that the plot's going to be decent, we're going to talk about the plot, I really think the selling point of this game is the gameplay, right?
For
It's
sure,
got
absolutely,
awesome
for
running,
sure.
awesome gunning. And so if you're a runner and gunner, this game is made for you.
It felt like Doom. And Doom, and I say that very... I hope you take the whole account of saying Doom, because I love Doom. I really respect
Yeah.
Doom. Its software is amazing. But it was fluid. It ran well. It ran beautifully in my rig. No slowdowns.
Okay,
Oh,
we're going to have a different experience here.
Okay.
Because that was something I wanted to say too. Is this is the newest game that we have played on the podcast. There was built-in support for G-Sync. There was built-in support for ultra wide. This looked amazing. I loved it graphically, and
And I did
Yeah, it was great.
my monitor does free sync instead of G-Sync, because I got the cheaper one. Worked great.
Yeah.
The whole time.
So I mean, granted, I'm running OBS because I'm capturing stuff. I just kept degrading and degrading and degrading. I ended at about 45 frames per second at 720p with most things on medium and many on low.
really,
What is
Yeah.
wrong with your rig?
Well, I think what it is that there are many parts of this game where you're actually rendering two separate environments simultaneously.
the time travel stuff definitely is.
Yeah.
And so my rig sounded like it was going to launch into outer space, right? Over the mic, you can hear it going. It
Nice.
was insane. So, but that said, even a low, medium 720p, it still looked pretty decent.
Sure.
So,
On your 4K monitor, you played at 720p.
that's right. Yeah, it was sad. It was really chugging.
Man, it ran beautifully, but
Yeah.
again, my rig's relatively
It's a
modern,
beast.
so
Yeah, it ran great for me.
And what's your graphics card?
I have what is my graphics card? I have a 1080, but not the Ti.
Okay, because mine's the GTX 970.
Okay, yeah.
So you are
that was my
now
old one.
4 generations behind.
I guess depends how you count generations.
10
but
series, the RTX series, and now they've just done the RTX Supers.
You count the Super as a full generation? Because it's more like the TIs, right? Because
Maybe
then if you're
he
going to do
probably
that, you can
wants
do 10 series Ti,
Yeah.
right? And so by that, then I'm 5 behind.
All right.
But I don't know. So it just depends how you count
But
generation.
Cynic does a great service for our viewers.
Yeah.
If you got a rig that's a little bit behind,
True.
can
And
you
if
play
you're
the game?
super cheap like me,
super cheap. So yeah, it ran well. Audio design, another good audio design
Yes.
game.
Yes.
It was very nice.
Yeah. Everything sounded like it packed a punch. The melee attacks sounded really nice.
Like bone crunchingly
Yeah.
satisfying.
It was
Yeah.
great.
though I will say that the music was forgettable, right?
Yeah,
It wasn't...
Nothing stood out to me music-wise.
Which is a little sad because they specifically reached out to get the same guy that did Titanfall 1 to come back and do the music design for Titanfall 2. And
I
I was
thought
like,
it was good.
Yeah, it's fine.
And it fit in well. It
Yeah.
wasn't
Yeah.
It didn't get in the way by any means,
No.
right? There was no
Right.
Casio track in the middle.
There's no kazoo. But I mean, it sounded good enough. And I remember a few scenes where yeah, this music kind of gets your heart pumping. I remember it was good.
I guess I just don't remember this music ever standing out to me, but maybe I just went through it too fast and didn't pay attention.
I think I didn't notice until I was editing, and then I was hearing the same song over and over again. I was like, oh, this is a decent track, but
Yeah.
other than that, yeah, fairly forgettable.
No, it wasn't bad in any way. It just
No.
very forgettable. And I felt that way about a lot of things about the game, right? I thought the aliens were forgettable. I forgot how many of those mech warrior main villains
The boss-
you fought.
boss fights.
Totally forgot 3 of them. And it was because
Yeah.
it was just
Yeah,
they were a
I
little
did too.
forgettable. I remembered the robot lady Ash. I remembered the druggy Kane dude.
Kane.
See the first one?
Kane's the first one.
And then I remembered Kuben Blisk, the main, I I don't know, Australian or New Zealander guy. I don't know.
Which I love how like accents make it to interstellar space.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, yeah, he's Australian from Earth.
And then I remembered that there were others, but I forgot them. I even forgot like the main Viper guy, the airback one. I forgot it.
That one stood out for sure.
Yeah.
I forgot him. Like I was like, was it a different guy or was it just one of the guys that maybe I hadn't killed and he came back? Like I had to look it up to see that it was different.
Yeah. I don't remember who the final. There was a final woman, right?
Sloane.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I had to look her up. Yeah.
I remember the fight, but the names are.
Yeah, she was like the right-hand lieutenant, right?
Yeah.
And then there was like the barbarian dude that you see at the very beginning that you kind of, I forgot about him too. He had like the cloak, the furry cloak thing, right?
That was like in the ice level before when you were doing the antennas. Is that the right level where you see him?
I thought it was the one that had the big pipes that go up to that platform and then come down and there's the fog. I thought that's where we killed him, but I could be wrong.
He
was just forgettable.
Right.
So really, I guess the message here is the enemies were forgettable.
Well, and that's really easy to do when you have too many,
Yeah.
right? Like, which Spider-Man movie was it where there was like 3 enemies and then one of them was a good guy and one of them's like a sand monster and you're just like, what's going on?
You're describing every Spider-Man movie.
But there were just too many of them, right? Whereas when there's just like the one main bad guy with maybe like a right-hand guy, that's about as many bad guys as you could truly fill out.
Well, okay, we're going to go back to Far Cry 3. Who's the bad guy?
Oh, yeah, that's true. Well, again, part of that I think comes down to voice acting, right?
Absolutely.
Which I think does with this one too, right? Voss feels like the main bad guy, even though he's in less than half of the game, because Citra's this forgettable end twist. That's it, right? That's all Citra is.
Absolutely.
And in this one, Kuban felt very much that way, right? He's at the very beginning, he's at the very end, but everything else he doesn't really deal with you. Saint Richter, the cloak guy, he doesn't really talk that much except for when you're fighting him, right? Ash, at least, there was like the progression of as you're going through the level, she keeps taunting you, right? She wants to play games with you, and so she was a little bit more full, right? Sloane, I guess Sloane did talk a few times, but her dialogue was just forgettable. Kane, he was like the druggy, crazy guy, and so he stood out a little bit more. I remembered him.
In the Borderlands, like I'm thinking of like the crazy like axe throwing dudes, the pirates. What are they called? The psychos.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, they gave him a mech.
And then Viper, I mean, his battle was memorable, but like, what does he say in the battle?
Well, that's how I felt
anything.
about all of them. Like I remember the fights, but the actual people and their personalities that went over my head.
Can we stop using the call sign Viper for like air type things, like Top Gun? Yeehaw! Vipers, they get the instructor.
It's tried and true.
I guess so.
So at my company, everyone's username has to include part of their last name and then may include part of their first name, except for one person whose username was Viper. That's it. And you went to his cubicle, you're like, oh, I wonder what his real name is, because everyone has to have their real name on their cubicle. His was Viper. And so for a while I thought maybe his real name's Viper. No, it just turned out that he thought he was more important than everybody else and like specifically made them give him the name Viper. And I was equally impressed that he managed to get it done and disappointed that that was the name he fought so hard to get.
It's just such a generic call sign.
Yeah. Better than Jack Cooper.
Hey, Jack Cooper.
Viper Cooper.
That's worse.
So I want to talk just a little bit about the Kane scene when you fight Kane for the first time, and there was always like an exposition where you took down the other mech, and then you'd have some kind of like the cockpit would pop open, and you'd see him all mangled in there, whatever.
Yeah.
You take his helmet, Kane's helmet, and you pull his communicator off, and then you click it into your helmet.
Oh,
so you can eavesdrop on him. Were you wearing headphones when you did that?
I was, but not nice ones, just little over-ear ones.
I can't remember.
So I'm an audiophile. I'm a nerd. I spend money on headphones. You actually hear it click into your right ear and your right ear only. It was like, and then the audio's coming in through your right ear. It was awesome. I was like, some sound engineer put that in there, and I'm going to acknowledge you. Or, yeah, well done.
That's great.
Madame or sir, whoever you are.
The committee.
Yeah, whoever it was, I'm sure someone's like, we're going to put this in, and someone's going to notice that. I noticed. Thank you. It was great. I loved it.
I didn't. I was using essentially the equivalent of over-the-ear headphones from Walkman of the 80s. So
amazing. As I do with most games, I switch back and forth between speakers and headphones. Like as it gets later in the night, I switch to headphones. But so I don't know what
you live
I play
by yourself.
But there's people in the complex that don't like disturbing at night.
I'm just
with
like,
gunshots going off.
It's like you don't want to disturb the
rats,
vermin that maybe live in your apartment.
There's no rats in my apartment.
Yet.
Oh no.
We know what to get Frosty for his birthday. Rats.
Yeah.
Please don't.
So, kind of going on with a little bit more of the campaign, the level design where you're in the manufacturing center building that.
Love it.
One of the coolest levels I've ever seen in my life.
And it first of all, it made sense. Second of all, it was a platformer puzzle in the middle of a runner-gunner game that I enjoyed.
Yes.
Most runner-gunner games where they make you, like even Borderlands. I love Borderlands, but when they're like, ooh, jump over here and here and here to go get that chest. I'm like, no, because your jumping mechanics suck. Don't make me do that. This was awesome.
I loved exploring in this game.
Absolutely.
Like, even though, like, I tried to find all the little pilot helmets.
I didn't.
I
kept an eye out, but that was about it.
Yeah.
But
it was still fun to look around. Like, I love just seeing how high I can get, and like, even if there was nothing up there, I was like, this is fun. I like this.
And the death mechanic wasn't bad. You'd fall to your death and be like, checkpoint. Yeah.
And the checkpoints were really generous. Like, I remember there was that one where you have to like time travel between the two walls that you're jumping back and forth.
Yeah.
And I messed up, but I messed up like toward the end, and they're just like, you made it. I was like, oh, really? Well, that was nice of you.
Some level engineers, level design just went, "You're welcome, Cynic." That was mine.
I was actually going to be like, oh, I'm going to try that again. I'm having fun, right? But I just just barely missed the platform. It's like, good enough.
Yeah.
I love that level where like the little test platforms being made around you, and you'd find out like the little yellow outlines where the next piece is going to go, so you know how to avoid those.
Well, and I feel like up to that point, I was enjoying the traversal and just the movement, but that moment, like, it really hit you like, this game is awesome. Like, I'm loving this.
Did anyone else hum that old like Looney Tunes song that they always do when there's like an assembly line? I was doing
the whole time. Yeah.
See, I just thought Magrathea from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yeah, same.
Making planets.
Oh yeah. Okay.
But it was awesome, and some of the things were kind of obvious. Like, you'd see a wall just hanging, dangling. It's like, well, I'm obviously wall running on that.
Yeah.
And then I was like,
I didn't mind that though.
But then, like, when things in front of you are, like, dropping, you're like, okay, which way am I going to drop? Okay, I got to land on here.
Yeah.
Right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But
I
it was awesome that they threw a platforming element in a run-gunning depth. The depth they put into this game, I was just shocked.
Yep.
So
no,
good.
and also remember, you're playing two different styles of games. You're playing as Jack Cooper, the rifleman turned pilot, and then you're a giant robot.
Yeah.
And they had to account for both types of things.
Yeah.
And they obviously they didn't want it so you're always Jack Cooper. They didn't want it so you're always BT. So they're like, oh, well, this is a small area that your little pilot has to go through because he can't fit.
Right.
And they try to make it make sense, right? Like, he has to throw you over here, or the BT gets kidnapped, or, you know...
The BT gets kidnapped and thrown in the back of a Ford Crown Victoria. Which, the scene where BT gets trapped, it was the funniest thing I saw in the whole game. Like, attempt number 386 to free myself has failed. Attempting 388. That has failed.
Yeah. Running through his scenarios.
Yeah, it was great. And
that was good.
The dialogue between you and BT went from, hey, I just inherited Lastimosa's mech, to, he's actually, like, my only friend on Earth.
And it was pretty funny. Like, there was pretty funny stuff throughout the entire game, like, between you and BT.
I noticed that I was missing some of the optional prompts that like, it would just be like, oh, talk to your mech, and I was ignoring him because I was doing other things.
Oh, really?
I was like, oh, my poor mech, he's like gonna think I don't like him. I gotta talk to him.
It was.
Does he just say it picks one for you, or
no? It doesn't do anything. You just don't
really?
respond. Yeah.
Oh, so you miss a lot of the fun audio.
Oh,
No, it was just like the first few, and there was
okay.
there was a couple where like he didn't even say anything to prompt. It was just that something popped up that you could say, but since I was doing something else, I'm like, oh, I'll get it in a second, and it goes away. And you're like,
yeah,
no, I missed it.
There was always a timer on them. So.
I did love how like sometimes he made small talk with BT, like especially if you're in an area it's kind of scary. He's like, so BT, how's the mission going? It's like, it's going according to operational parameters, right? It's like, please be my friend. And did you notice in the jumping back a bit, in the training pod, it doesn't seem like you're a very well-liked rifleman. Because your other squad runs by and says, get out, pod, come on, let's go. And he's like, maybe I don't have any friends.
I think it's that the riflemen are just kind of the peons.
Disposable?
You're just getting pulled in and spit out and you die,
Yeah. A Titan's going to step on you. So.
Yeah.
And maybe that's just me reading too much into the name militia, right? But you're the frontier militia, right? It just feels very much everybody's in this.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are, you're in the militia now.
Yeah.
If you're good, you'll be a pilot. If you're something else, maybe you'll be something. But if not, rifleman, get out there and die.
I'm going to be a cook. Can I make omelets for my fellow militiamen?
I want to say, since we're talking about conversation with BT, why did he only talk to BT and he never speaks to Sarah Cooper? Not Cooper.
I always called her Sarah Connor, but yeah.
Sarah Briggs. he never speaks to her. She speaks like to him and like about him, like in front of his face, and he never responds to her.
Isn't it super awkward?
It's so awkward. I didn't understand like why he would speak to BT, and I think he even speaks to some other people in the rest of the game, and he never speaks to her.
And BT speaks to her.
Yeah.
Like, BT will engage
BT
with her
and her have a conversation.
give, like, mission things. And I'm just like, I'm the human here. And the robot's like, just quiet, Jack Cooper.
It's so
the grown-ups
awkward.
are talking.
Do they not even do it when they're advancing in that final mission, like
I don't
side by
think
side,
so.
working out? Because I know she talks to him a lot, but I guess you're just silent.
Yeah, because I make jokes about it in my video that
Alright.
she has like 3 or 4 lines like in a row, like giving
Yeah.
a pause between each one, and you say nothing.
I guess I was just talking back so much that I didn't notice that
Yeah.
my actual character didn't talk back.
It's so weird.
He suddenly got a little Gordon Freeman syndrome where he's like, I can't talk.
Either that or
Yeah.
just massive crush on Sarah
Oh, there you
Briggs.
go.
He's in there sweating bullets. He's like, I'm in a giant firefight. That's
There's
Sarah.
a girl. She's a famous
Yeah.
leader of the militia.
And I'm rifleman.
Even when you run and jump and she saves you at the last moment and catches you and pulls you in, you're just like,
Yeah.
yep, that's true. All right.
No thanks for saving his life. Anything. So awkward.
Maybe they recorded all of his lines first because, Matt Mercer's kind of popular. And then they added the Sarah Briggs character and they're like, oh,
Could
yeah,
be.
we can't ask Matt to come back until we
he's
do.
too busy.
It very well could be. Because I feel like he interacted with everyone else except her. And she's in like the last half of the game.
Yeah, and she seems more important. Like, she's more memorable than, like, that whole substation you rescue. There's, like, a bunch of people there. Like, I know you talk to them, but, like, I kind of forget why they're even there. And part of it.
Yeah.
There's, like, something that launches or something. Like
You need
some
to send
computer.
a message to her. That's
Yeah.
how she comes into the whole story.
When we were talking about the platform level, the whole point of that platform level is they build this battle dome or a simulation dome where they're trying to like figure out these basically Titan hunting robots type things, right?
Yeah.
And you get shoved in there and it turns into this gladiator battle, which
Yeah.
I wrote down, like, I was writing notes while I played this game, and I wrote disorienting, frantic, but highly enjoyable.
For sure.
It
I
felt
like
like
that
one of the
part
few
a lot.
arenas that didn't feel super forced. It was a little forced, but like it made sense, and especially since they built up the Ash character as like this playful, whimsical robot, right? It's like, okay, this is something she would do.
The only thing I have a question about is you're in that factory for maybe like 30 minutes or so. You see so much land. Like, there are so many like little parcels. Like, it seems like they're building an entire continent.
I assume they're like
And then
shipping it out.
there's only like 4 pieces that come up in the dome. But even if they are shifting them out, like how many like training domes do they have? Like how many people are training in this facility?
Yeah, and where are they going?
I was assuming they weren't all training domes. I was assuming a lot of them were like colonization, housing type things to be
Well,
like,
that's
oh,
what
we're
it-
going to go build a base over there.
That's
right?
what it should have been. I felt like
Yeah.
because there was enough for that, but you don't see that, and so
Yeah.
I wondered.
The
if
dome's a
is-
lot smaller than you.
Yeah, is
all the
this
stuff getting
just
built.
for training?
But also each of those little pods is like small enough you could like it could be like load on the back of a truck or something hauled out somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I took from that general shape. It looked like a manufactured home type thing, and so I just assumed
for sure.
it was getting shipped out. But it doesn't.
I did
show.
too, but it doesn't show. And so then
Yeah.
I was like, I saw so much. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Square
I was
acreage.
wall jumping a lot of these things. I've seen about 8 of them now.
And especially if you just wait, they'll just keep going.
Exactly, yeah. And you can see like way far in the distance.
Yeah.
There's so much stuff being created.
I was
You
gonna-
can see way far in the distance.
I was going to mention that. Draw distance was huge in this game.
I had to
Yeah.
turn it down to low.
I have never seen a draw distance. Like, I'd look up and I can see miles and
Yeah,
miles out
inside
there.
the factory especially was really impressive.
And there was a few moments when I like looked at this. I'm like, this is pretty.
Oh yeah.
Well done.
Especially on that first alien planet, there were a lot of picturesque moments.
waterfalls
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and stuff. Yeah, it was
And
good looking.
on Valve's engine.
Yeah.
Interesting. The Source engine.
Yeah, it made me wish like, oh man, Half-Life 3 could be so good, like, and
Yeah.
look so good, and
You
just be
said
amazing.
you said the thing. You said the thing.
So sorry.
Add a year to the deadline.
I can't say anything. I haven't finished the second one, so
Yeah.
Good point.
to me, it's not over, and it will never be over.
I'm happy to replay it again and again, especially with my memory getting so faulty. So
Faulty. It's like a bad RAM chip.
That's
My
right.
memory's bad. I need new. So yeah, frantic, disorienting. Enjoyed that battle. Was great.
Yeah, like that a lot. Is right after that when you go to time travel levels?
it's pretty soon after that, yeah, because you escape and then you have to like.
I forget the order of the levels,
Yeah.
but I liked that each section had a very distinct look and a very distinct mechanic to it.
Yeah.
Like they felt like their own, like a team, designed this part, like a team of developers designed this part, another
Yeah.
team designed this part, and then someone put them all together. But it flows very well.
Yeah.
Like even though they do feel disjointed, it makes sense in the sense of the story, and I don't know, I liked that a lot.
Yeah.
And the gameplay felt different in
Yes.
each area.
Yeah,
Not
sure.
just the visual
Yep.
effect, Mass Effect, where it sends you to a new place and it's like, hey, it's still same gameplay.
Yeah.
Like, there was missions where it's like, yeah, I'm jumping a lot and using my pilot kit. There's a thing where I'm just going to battle with this giant robot.
Yeah. So you have the factory that's kind of platformer, moving lots of moving platforms. You have to do some timing things. Then you have the time travel mechanic where there is like platforms and
Puzzle
more
pieces.
more puzzles, but
Yeah.
it's all with time travel, and the combat of the time travel was really fun.
Awesome.
I liked that a lot.
It was super awesome.
Then you get the arc tool. And so now you're manipulating the area and
Yep.
moving stuff.
cranes.
You have the cranes that you have to move walls into positions, things like that. So that felt very distinct. And then there's like the assault as all the Titans. I'm kind of getting through the whole story.
Yeah.
I'm meaning this in a mechanics way.
But like multiple mechs side
Yeah,
by
all
side,
mechanics,
pushing the front line.
right.
Which,
Yeah.
were you not
Battle.
squealing like a little?
That was-
I
it was a
was
good battle.
so awesome.
I
like
liked
all
that,
these giant
yeah.
robots. I'm like,
That was great.
Then you've got the planes, right?
Yes,
like traversing planes
jumping
and trying to
on the
guerrilla
outside of the
warfare.
planes, and that part looked fantastic too. Just the ground like rushing past you so fast, like it seemed like you were traveling hypersonic speed.
and you notice the arc tool, you could get Reapers to come out of the walls that fight for you.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Awesome
I forgot about
mechanic.
that part too. Yeah,
Fantastic.
I like that. Trying to think how.
And the initial one, which was more the parkour, rock climbing type stuff, right?
Yeah.
But it's almost like they grabbed like 8 different game genres, wrapped them all up in one, and it worked.
Yeah.
It just
For sure.
worked.
Yeah, the variety of it was
How many-
was really nice and refreshing. And,
How many games have we seen try to do that and fail miserably?
Yeah.
there'll be like one section. Oh, like this one doesn't really work. Like
Yeah.
this is annoying. The game never has that. Like,
No.
This is
Yeah.
fantastic, start to finish. There's nothing annoying, nothing
Yep.
tedious.
No weird vehicle to suddenly
That-
drive.
Yeah.
Rage comes to mind. Where Rage, you're running around kind of fighting and doing stuff, and it's like, now you're going to do some car races.
Yeah.
I liked the car stuff in
I did-
Rage.
They were fun, but it was like,
Sure.
they didn't mesh. It just didn't make
Right.
sense.
Yeah, it felt very disjointed.
Yeah. So fantastic. More on the story, more on the gameplay. The part where BT throws you for the first time has got to be one of my most enjoyable moments of a game ever.
Yeah.
Where he's like, I think the only way to get up there is to... He says it in a really funny way.
Uh-huh.
And he like reaches his hand down and is like, you're really going to toss me
Yeah.
like Lord of the Rings style? Like,
Yeah.
don't toss a dwarf? And he just javelins you in the air. I thought it was great.
Well,
Don't
and
tell the elf.
Speaking of Half-Life, I can't remember if it's episode 1 where Dog throws you in the car. And
Oh,
there's
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
a little like roller coaster ride type.
Yeah,
looking
you're right.
thing.
It was episode 1.
Yeah, reminded me of that, which I love that part in episode 1, and so I was like, oh,
Yeah.
this feels like very similar Source Engine again, but yeah, I like the visual of that, like just being tossed through the air, and, like,
And then
I gotta land
foreshadowing it because he
somewhere.
threw something else before, and they're like, "Oh, maybe next time you could throw me."
Oh, yeah, he throws
Right?
a cord of some
Yeah,
sort.
yeah, so you can take a zip line up there.
Yeah, and the mechanic, let's go back to the time travel mechanic. You put a wrist-mounted device on, and a certain button activates it, and you flip between one time period or another, and there's scenes where, like, a door's locked. Well, you flip the other time, that door's destroyed and stuff.
Yeah.
But the scenes where you had to fall through a tunnel, or fall through a hole
Yep.
or a shaft, where you're going boom, 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 boom.
To not
like-
hit the lasers.
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
Cool.
That was fun.
Like
was
a lot,
awesome.
and it was what's the word? It was very tight controls, like it
Oh, yeah.
was
It was
instant
crisp.
switch,
Yeah.
crisp. That's
Crisp.
the word. Yes.
Yep.
Which, one of my biggest gripes with the game is clunkiness, and there
Yeah.
was none to be found.
No.
Which I think is a lot of the Source Engine. The Source
Yeah.
Engine has been tried and true, and
Yep.
how many crazy things have they done with it?
Yeah.
Left 4 Dead is an entirely different game from Half-Life 2,
Yeah.
right?
And this doesn't really have like physics types puzzles, I would say. No, but
Not really.
but like the time travel stuff, very very crisp, very fluid.
And
I love that section. That was the best part of the game. I
it was
think.
awesome.
And it was cool to hear all these soldiers responding in real time to you. They're like, "Where'd he go? He was just over there, right?" Like, and
And
as
you
you,
can stop at mid sentence.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
when you turn it back on, they're in the same spot.
And they'd be like investigating the spot you last were. Like,
Yeah.
It was super well done.
Yeah.
Oh, and they give you the satchel charges at that.
oh, I
part.
loved the satchels.
Yeah, you just get a big group of them and wait. Yeah, time travel, move around to the other side of them, toss it in the middle.
I think that's one of those pet peeves that I hate in the game when I blast someone with a grenade and they're like, minor damage. I'm like, screw you. You're dead. You're all dead. This is bull. So it was nice to throw a satchel and just like, I I detonate it after I pop around the corner, and I look back, and I'm like, oh, yeah, they're all dead.
It worked. I killed 5 or 6 people.
Fantastic.
Right. Oh, we should talk too about the variety of grenades. I love the fire ones.
The fire ones
throwing
were cool.
stars. Those were great. I didn't really like the gravity ones.
And the
Satchels
arc
were my go-to.
And the arc ones were kind of hit or miss.
And the ticks.
Yeah,
I
those
didn't
were
like the
fine. I
ticks.
didn't
They were
use the ticks
so
ever.
dumb.
I hated the ticks coming after me.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
Those were
yeah.
horrible.
I was
Though they did keep you on your toes, and they made it so that you couldn't just, like, sit somewhere and snipe, right? Like, you had to keep moving.
Yeah, it was good that they were there, but they were kind of frustrating.
And this
especially
game-
since I'd saved the DRM. I'm like, oh, no, I now can't use it. DMR, sorry.
Yeah.
Not...
Digital rights management.
That's right.
We don't want that.
I love how this game made me uncomfortable in the fact that I couldn't play it how I wanted to play it the whole time. It's like, well, you need to do it this way if you want the optimal way to do this.
Yeah.
Like, because normally I'd sit with a sniper rifle and a big tall perch and just pop guys, but it's like, here come the ticks.
Yeah.
You're running around.
And they're quieter than you think they would be, right? Like, you hear them a little bit, but, like, you can't tell exactly how close they are yet. And so, yeah.
And they
Gotta stay on your
seemed, it seems most games too, like they would get to you and like flash for a while and then explode. These like, blow up pretty quick.
Yeah.
Like
You will take damage. If it gets to the point where it's close enough to you that it
and
flashes
if there's
out
2
to
of
you,
them, you're dead.
you will die.
You can wall jump real quick and take a lot less damage, but you have to get at least a little bit of lead time. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was just great.
It was great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, so I put down just the variety of all the different types of play as one of the huge pros, right? Because you've got cloaking, flanking, running, fighting, guerrilla warfare, time travel, popping back and forth, the dimensional phasing just in general, different mech loadouts. We haven't talked about that yet.
right.
Yes.
Cranes moving thing, the arc tool to move things, the different pilot helmets in case you want to be more of a completionist and exploration people. And then at the end, the smart pistol, right? That kind of gives you a different tank sort of thing that you can just book through and kill everybody at
So
once.
the whole game, I'm sitting there going, "Where's my smart pistol?"
Because that's in the
first one,
Yeah.
and it's like it's infuriating because it just locks on and pops thing. Well, I'm sitting there flying around, I'm like, "Where is it? I've picked up every gun, it's not here." And then the way you get it, which is a little heartbreaking,
To rip out BT's brain.
yeah.
it's like use the pilot survival kit. I'm like, or whatever he calls something like it has an acronym,
Yeah,
right?
it's like murder.
And then you like grab BT's head and take it off. I'm like,
But it was kind of neat though. That it was like, oh, there's like a health pack in here and a smart pistol and a little backup unit for his AI core.
Yeah.
and that was great. It's like, oh, I'm taking him with me still.
Sure.
And the smart pistol, to me, it was the same moment as in Half-Life 2 where Barney throws your crowbar. It's like, hey, Barney, or hey, Gordon, you left something on Black Maze. He throws your crowbar and you hold the crowbar. And I was like, oh, smart pistol.
The other
That was
brilliant
great.
thing about taking out BT's brain and calling down another mech and planting in that mech is that, spoiler warning, it's about to get all spoiled, it gives you the hope that the same sort of sleight of hand is going to happen and BT's going to be just fine next time and he's going to come back to you, right? And so when the game ends with, a sacrificial moment that I'm sure we'll talk about in more detail, you're like, oh, but maybe I found a core, or maybe when he threw me, I snatched his brain. No, he's gone.
Yeah, that was a good misdirection.
Yeah.
It was. Because I'm like, oh, good, he doesn't die. Like, it's a stupid giant robot, but I found myself getting attached to the
for
stupid
sure.
giant robot.
Yeah, they did a really good job of making him a good character.
How can you not? He's got an Optimus Prime voice.
Yeah.
No, it's the robot from Lost in Space. It's almost
Danger,
it's
Will
almost
Robinson.
exactly from like
Wait,
the
which-
90s Lost in Space.
Okay, I was like, which Lost in Space are you talking about?
Yeah.
The giant vacuum cleaner doesn't sound anything like it.
The 90s one
All right.
sounds almost exactly the
The,
same.
the one with Joey from Friends?
Yes.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
Really?
Have you never seen it?
No.
We'll have to watch it for a B-movie night. It's not horrible,
It's fine.
but
yeah.
it's aged.
The CGI is awful now. But
Is it as bad as
There's
the original
some
Battlestar
cool
Galactica CGI? Where like the Vipers are on like little fishing lines?
as in the 70s
No,
Battlestar
Yeah.
Galactica?
No, it's not that bad.
Okay.
This is the 90s.
Yeah,
So-
it's like Independence
90s.
Day and stuff.
So like
right?
90s would be like cut off jeans and bare midriff shirts. Is that what?
That's right.
Sure.
The CGI Matt Blanc in
Oh,
cut off.
Lucky us. More memorable parts of the game because I love those. The original arc explosion where it goes to the slow motion and you're running
yes.
towards it,
Oh,
and
yeah.
BT's running behind you. They are moving, albeit extremely slowly. But they are very slowly moving, which I thought, oh, it's a static image.
Yeah.
And I sat there, I'm like, no,
Yep.
Yeah.
he's moving.
Which is another interesting callback to the Source engine, right? Because at the end of a couple of the Half-Lives, there's
that's right.
explosion, and if you do look at them, they are like slowly moving as you've been frozen by the G-Man.
I forgot about that. Yeah. Very nice.
Yeah, just another great memorable point.
Yeah.
And which I don't need
Here.
that. Which mech loadout was your favorite?
the sniper or the railgun. What was it? I can't remember what it was.
So there was
it was
the
one of the
ion
final
gun.
ones that
There
you
was
got.
okay, I don't remember, but
There was one that was a sniper for him that was amazing.
I love the one that had the precision laser.
Yep, that was mine.
That was a super fun one.
Which it was funny because every time they had me to lay
Is that the same one? You had to charge it up?
Yeah. Yeah, you had to like charge it up and aim it right where you wanted, and then as soon as you released, it would like
Yes.
that was one of your second abilities,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then your regular cannon was like a laser cannon of some sort.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a slow firing; it was a automatic.
But then the ultimate
it-
was amazing. The ultimate was the one that was like, I'm going to have a giant beam come out of my chest. I'm
Yeah.
going to spin a 360 and kill like everything.
I did like that one, but that's not the one that I like. The sniper one.
yeah, there was
Because
a sniper
you could charge it up and kill Titans in one shot.
Oh, really?
because
Yeah.
it was like a laser that charged. Like you'd hold it down and it'd go, and then it
Yeah, like I used
That
that
one's
on
good.
Viper, and still like died to him once or twice. I think like he was a tough fight, but that one like killed him pretty fast.
Though they did a
He
great
actually
job
landed
with
shots.
the balancing, right? Because every time I got a cooler one, I was like, but I missed like holding the bullets and being able to throw them right back. Like I missed
Yeah.
that so much. So you're like, okay, the first one still has an allure. But
Well, and the
Yeah.
secondary abilities on the laser one are kind of rubbish. It's a tripwire, kind of like a,
Oh, yeah,
a laser
yeah.
tripwire.
which was horrible against you, but it seemed to not do anything against enemies.
I loved when you get caught in the tripwire and it was like a big suction cup plunger got stuck on your cockpit. You're like,
The Rocket League.
yeah, exactly what it felt like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I found myself a lot of time they'd have a new Titan logo out, and I'd load it and be like, yeah, no, thanks.
Yeah.
I'll go back
The
to that.
fire one was the only one that really felt worthless.
I always stuck with it for a while to try to give it some time, but yeah, I didn't like the fire one either.
Yeah, everything else was usable.
And there's nothing more
Or
fun, though, than using a
awesome.
melee attack against a grunt. Like, you just smash.
Splatter.
Except for when you do it and they like you somehow barely miss. You're like you miss on the other side. You're like,
Did you...
get back here, you little ant.
Do you remember the audio cue where BT goes, I weigh approximately whatever tons. Use my size to crush the military. It's like,
yeah.
oh, yeah. Good.
You can just walk on them.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Let's see. Any other...
There was the health for him was maybe a little too plentiful.
Yeah,
Like except for the boss fights,
What difficulty were you on?
normal. I left it on regular. I think.
I did hard, and it was a little bit less.
all right.
I'm sure. Yeah.
I did easy because I was way behind and needed to play this game in
Yeah.
a day. So
There's still-
I sat and finished it all in one go.
There still was a lot of batteries.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
batteries didn't make a lot of sense because you're taking actually like kinetic damage to your mag, and it's like, oh, I'm
Sure.
good now. But it's a game.
Sure.
Yeah, some of
Yeah,
the, some
'cause,
of the
like, it
mechanics
makes-
are very arcadey,
Yeah.
but it was super fun, and so I
Yeah.
didn't care. Yeah.
But at the same time, you accept pain pills and health packs for your body. It's not like your
Yeah.
body insta-heals either, right?
Like, what are you going to do? Go pull into like a maintenance bay? It's like, I'm going to go weld for 8 hours since I'm welding new armor plates on BT, right?
That's how it should be.
That's the new like Red Dead Redemption sim level type thing. It's like, okay, now I'm going to pause all the fun and go bathe. Now I'm going to pause all the fun and go weld.
Yeah, I was thinking that like in Fallout 4, I think your power armor, you have to like go hoist it up on a chain and like
Oh,
repair
serious?
pieces of it, you know?
Oh wow.
I get that it may make the game more realistic, but I never am willing to sacrifice the fun. That's why I'm playing, right?
Games should be fun.
Yeah.
But then, yeah.
And this
I mean,
game does that.
Then again, you can jump out of the air, a giant robot catches you and shoves you in him. I mean, at that point, are you really worried about the...
I like the swing dance move where you slide under his legs and he scoops you up. That was like my favorite one. I would always approach from the back just so I could slide under. But it was silly.
Did you ever get in the top hatch of him?
I did that once. Yeah, jump on.
If
the
you
top.
jump from a height, it's like this little head hatch pops in, and you just go boop.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
funny.
And it felt like the interior of BT was not like this super high technologically
Yeah.
looking cockpit. It was like an old crappy like recliner in there. It wasn't a recliner, you know.
Sure.
But it reminded me kind of like the Matrix, where like their seats are all kind of mangled and
Yeah,
gross.
yeah.
It's a war machine. Like
Yeah.
it's not there for creature comfort. It is a war machine.
One thing I didn't like is his HUD has animated elements, and so I would mistake it for enemies all the time. There were like little just nonsense things that have there aren't actually anything. It's just part of the HUD that
Sure.
some little graphic that's moving, and I'd be like, oh, movement. No,
Yeah.
it's the HUD.
So
That
the
is
visual
always-
designer was going, dang it.
Yeah.
Well, because there's a difference between looking cool and like actually being functional for battle. You would never have that for functional battle.
Yeah, it was too distracting. Also, I kind of wish this game had a radar or a compass. That was maybe my one big complaint. Is sometimes you would be in these longer areas, and the only way you could tell there were enemies is when they shot at you.
Yeah.
And I kind of wanted like a
And that-
bit of an
yeah.
more indicator.
I could see that.
So you could sneak up on people more, maybe.
Yeah,
or,
sure.
Because they already had like the compass for like where you should go, right? So they could easily have done a similar thing,
Yeah.
just like little red dots to highlight. Anybody
Yeah, I mean,
you
they could
see
be
and target it.
they could be super vague.
Yeah.
Like someone is kind of in this general
Yeah.
direction. Like I would have appreciated that. But.
And in multiplayer, I played like one round of multiplayer,
Oh, did you?
which it took me 8 minutes to get into a game because it's a ghost town.
Yeah.
But there is a HUD, or there is a radar with
Oh, really?
enemy positions.
Yeah, that
which
would have been nice.
They already had it, right?
Yeah.
Even if they just had that inside of BT, like it would have been like a an added bonus for being inside the Titan. But
And I don't know if it's just like my brain works this way, but I always assume like I'm in a tank. Like I'm in a giant robot, but I'm in a tank, so I have to look out a little hole. But like it just has a visual field, like the links to your brain, and now you're just looking through BT's eyes, which was kind of cool.
Yeah.
And it was kind of funny how BT would comment like, "Oh, our combat efficiency is going up," because that'd be weird as an AI robot to be like, "Okay, now you have full control of my body. Good luck. Do well, please."
yeah. Yeah, I like that he was his own thing.
Yeah. And then if you hopped out, he was at least a useful ally. Maybe not an amazing ally, but useful, right? He wasn't just in your way. He wasn't just walking in circles waiting for you to get back. He would at least distract people and shoot people.
In the original game, I do kind of remember that. You could park your Titan and go
And he's
outside
like
and it would shoot people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay. So they did kind of bring that into the
Yep.
his character. Yeah.
And it's funny when he was fighting on his own, he's like doing somersaults and flip and like doing like all these like aerobatic moves, and I'm just like dooper dooper
Yeah,
doo.
why can't I do that?
All right, we've hit all the good things I had written down, but I did want to mention some of the bad things. So I already mentioned forgettable enemies and allies and things like that, right? The plot was kind of trite, right? It was stop things from an ancient alien weapon that they've discovered through archaeological means and is being
Oh, we've never seen that
fixed,
in a game.
right?
Like Halo.
Or
Stop the Doomsday
StarCraft
device.
or Mass
Halo,
Effect
stop,
or
Mass Effect, every sci-fi game.
yeah,
like
Yeah.
it's a super common trope. I didn't love that. It's not the worst, but I didn't love it, right? I didn't love that a lot of these things like were too vague, right? It's like, what is the arc? What is the folding weapon? We know they destroy, we know their power, but we don't know much about it. Same with the dimensional phasing, right? Like, okay, we get that this is some sort of alien technology. How did Major Anderson get it? Why does he have it? Why is he using it this way, right? Like,
Yeah, I
it
was
all
unclear
real
why.
vague.
Yeah, how the enemies had that, but then you guys had it on a little wristwatch also.
Yeah.
Like, did someone steal it, or yeah?
that
who
looked like a
discovered it?
Casio G-Shock watch.
Yeah, so I mean,
Back from the
clearly,
90s.
I kind of liked that though, because it showed you that okay, this is like reverse engineered, brand new tech that like is
Maybe that's
barely
what
a
it's supposed to
prototype.
be, yeah.
But and so they were trying to show you it's vague on purpose, but you can only hand wave so much and be like it's on purpose.
Yeah.
Before I get a little irritated, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, those were like the main things. I'm like, and then the sacrificial ending was a little bit too obvious.
I saw it coming a
Yeah.
mile away. You're like, obviously he's gonna throw
Yeah.
me to safety.
Yeah.
And especially, it wouldn't have been so irritating had not like three people be like, "What? How's that going to work? What? How's that going to work? I don't see how you could survive. I don't see how you could survive that one." It's like, yeah, I get it. He's going to sacrifice himself, right?
Well,
and I
and
thought if they hadn't done that, maybe I would have had more hope that I had snatched his memory core or something like that.
And the audio cues are like, we're in this together, BT. Like, we're finishing this together. It's like, oh, we're both going to sacrifice. And then my brain's going, no, you're not. He's
Yeah.
going to toss you safety.
Did you guys see the after credits?
Uh-huh.
Okay. I'm just making sure that.
I did not.
Oh, should we talk about it now?
I thought it was just
The-
I saw it to where he said they're giving me a new mech and we'll see what happens now that I have to like.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to watch all...
Yeah, all the credits go, and then it shows his helmet, like sitting in his bunk or whatever, and it flashes, and it's not Morse, it's binary for Jack ?
Oh,
So some part of BT survived inside the helmet.
all right.
Yeah, so I saw that and I was like, I honestly, like, I would love to see a Titanfall 3.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
Love to see a
I
Titanfall
wanted
3.
more when it was ended.
I don't know how likely that is, though, given the sales, right? I mean, the sales were down
Yeah.
way below what you wanted. They recouped their costs, but only after years.
Well, and I think
right?
they said when Apex Legends came out that we're not working on Titanfall 3.
Yeah.
So.
I'd love to see it. I want
Yeah.
to see that game because it's one of the few games. Here's what they did right. Here's exactly what they did right. They made it so it has left me wanting.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Where I've seen a lot of games where it's like, I'm done.
It is short, but it never overstays its welcome.
Yeah.
It definitely leaves you wanting more.
Yeah.
So
And I would prefer that. I'd prefer a short game that I can, especially now that I'm busy, right? Like, give me a game that's just short and good rather than sending me after 7 pieces of a sword I have to gather to see the last
Yes.
part, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
don't give me arbitrary slowness just for the sake of extending gameplay time.
Yeah. So yeah, you said, the story is very basic, but I was fine with it because the gameplay was so fun. This is like the opposite of BioShock Infinite, where the gameplay is a bit of a letdown, but the story is really good, and so it keeps me going. And
I can see that.
but yeah,
And about 8 hours. That's
I was
about,
at 8 hours.
About where I checked in.
So I
You
was
did it
5 because I
quicker.
just tanked through on easy.
Yeah,
So.
I did a lot of exploring. I do wish the pilot's helmets actually gave you something.
I was
there
curious
an
if you got
incentive.
all of them, if there was
No,
something.
there was an achievement for finding 20 of them.
Oh,
I
just
assume
achievements.
there was another achievement for finding all
Alright.
of them.
I was hoping that it would be like, there was some extra cutscene or something like that.
And maybe
right?
there is, but I didn't find them all, so
Sure.
so I'm not sure. I found quite a bit.
Yeah.
I think I stumbled on about half of them, so.
Yeah, they weren't very hidden. Like,
Yeah.
And
some were.
they glowed quite a bit, and so
Yeah.
you would usually notice, and then it was just a matter of figuring out how do I get up there.
Right.
But I enjoyed that.
Yeah, it was great.
Just more puzzle elements. So.
So I think if I had to describe this game very simply, it'd be pleasantly surprised.
Mhm.
Pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, I assumed it was going to be good, but I didn't think it would be as good as it was.
Yeah. And I knew it was going to have solid running and gunning, which is what I went into with expectations. Glad that they met my expectations, even exceeded my expectations, which is always hard when you go in with high expectations. And then I went in with really low expectations on the story and was pleasantly surprised. Yeah, it was better story than I thought.
So coming full circle, the new Star Wars game that's being developed, are we going to see something similar? I don't know.
I hope the quality of gameplay is the same. I know the wall running and stuff is in it, and you have double jump because you're a Force user and all that stuff. And so I hope those kind of things are in it, that there's traversal puzzles. Because that was really the fun part of this game.
It's made me a little nervous about the story, right? Because again, Star Wars games are usually pretty story heavy, and it often makes or breaks them, right?
But will the
Yeah.
story be provided by Disney themselves? Or if they say, here's your
Yeah.
story, wrap the game around
I
it?
assume there's different writers, but I don't know for sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
We won't know.
The one thing I do wonder is, the variety of weapons in this game is in Titanfall 2 is awesome. In Star Wars, are you just going to have a lightsaber?
A lightsaber and an E11 blaster that we've
Yeah.
used for years and years.
I expect a bowcaster, dang it.
There will. Every Star Wars game is here's your bowcaster, here's your
thermal
E11,
detonator.
here's your detonator, here's your E11 blaster,
Yeah.
here's your Imperial repeater.
Sure.
I hope that is the case, that you can cycle through weapons, because I think what they showed it just showed the lightsaber.
That's all I remember
combat.
seeing.
I just
So-
want to get a bowcaster that has more than 30 bullets in it, please. I want a game where I can actually use the bowcaster.
Yeah.
I just want to have Chewie. Just as like a NPC just
Yeah.
following me around. That'd be great.
I think. I don't want to talk about that.
All right, fair enough.
We need to play Force Unleashed sometime.
Oh, okay.
All right, so...
One more thing I wanted to say.
Yeah.
Did anyone else notice that this game ends the exact same way as Rayman Origins? With the falling stuff, and you have to jump.
I didn't. I did love that part, though, so...
I didn't make that connection until you just said it. I'm like, yep.
Yeah,
There it is.
It happened. It's like, this is the exact same as Rayman, which we just played. It made me laugh so hard.
I thought it was great, though. I love those
I
scenes where it's
enjoyed it.
you have to go now. There's you can't slow
Yeah.
down, you have to run, and you have to hit everything perfectly, or you're going to fall to your death.
But again, it was like the same thing with Rayman. You have to jump sometimes and not
Yeah.
realizing, I hope there's a platform that's going to
Yep.
appear. And
No, that
they
makes
did.
perfect sense. I didn't think about that, though.
Yeah. So if you find it, pick it up, play it. It's an absolute
Yeah,
must play.
if you like shooters, you will love this.
And you guys mentioned in our first episode that shooters with puzzle elements.
Yep.
That's right up your alley.
Yes.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
I absolutely pick it up.
This
It's
ticks all
usually
boxes.
$5, $10 on
Yeah.
the platform of choice.
I got it for $7.49 on Origin.
Oh, it's on Original.
Yeah, it's just on
Yeah,
Origin.
you're right.
But you have to be careful because again, there were two versions. I bought the ultimate version for $7.49, and the standard version was $9.99. So,
It's so
don't
funny.
buy the standard version.
Yeah.
I wonder
Pick
if
it up.
that's always the case
don't know.
just during sales, if
I
that
don't know.
happens. Or
Fantastic. I loved it.
Yeah.
It was one of those games where I got done. I was like, "Oh, that was fun. I want more. And I guess they did it right.
I think, Mass Effect is kind of in its own category. But besides that, this is my favorite thing that we've played.
Really?
So far. Yeah.
Oh.
I like this better than everything else.
I enjoyed this one, but I'm never going to go back and play it again, right? Whereas I might go back and replay BioShock Infinite. I might go back and replay Mass Effect. I might go back and even play Rayman, but I don't see myself going back and playing this.
I don't know. This is short enough that it would be very easy to do, and
Yeah.
I don't know. I loved it.
All right, so that's a all three across the board. Definitely say pick it up and play it. Let's look forward. What are we playing next?
Yeah, so we decided that for August we're going to do Watchdog, and we want to start with the first Watch Dogs because we haven't played it.
Yeah.
I don't even know what it's about, really.
I vaguely know that it's... I think it's kind of like Mirror's Edge, isn't it? Where it's...
I thought you can use like hacking elements to like... And it's somewhat open world. I don't know. We know nothing about it.
People are spying on everyone. It's that kind of thing.
I assumed you just had to protect the junkyard so that people don't come in and steal the junk.
Yeah, you're a Doberman, and you live in the junkyard. Right. We know. All I know about it is what was promised at one of the E3s, one of the gaming cons, and what were delivered was very different.
Well,
and it made a lot of people upset.
I do know that there's a cult following now of people who are like, no, it's a way better game than people gave it credit for.
Well, and I just watched something on that fact. It's only the graphics that's the case.
Oh, really?
The gameplay is exactly the gameplay.
I'll be fine then. I don't care about the graphics that much.
Yeah.
All right, 720p over here.
Well, I mean, I play on my Xbox 360 still, and that's got 720p.
No, it's all right.
He says after giving me a box full of cables so I can fix your Xbox 360.
That I gave to you because I was done with it.
I'm going to fix it. I'm going to give it back to you, and then I'm going to give you my second one, and we're all going to play an Xbox 360 game one of these days.
I'd be fine with that.
Oh boy, I can't wait to aim up and down.
I don't want to do anything where it's aiming.
No
Mouse
shooters.
is just superior to thumb for aiming. I don't care what you say, who you are, you're wrong.
Says the man that plays Borderlands with a controller.
Well, but you don't really aim that much in Borderlands.
Yes, you do.
You do constantly. That's all you do.
I never play sniper. I'm usually like Brick. I go in and I punch
Even
everything.
then, like everything is crit spots. You have to aim at the crit spot.
No, all you do
That's
is
why
you go.
Cynic never gets crit spots. He's like, I can't kill anything in this game.
No, I just ult over and over as Brick and I punch things. Or I do the Gunzerker, and when you do the Gunzerker, you can't really aim anyway. It's just like, die!
Okay. There's ways around it, but you should play Borderlands with mouse and keyboard.
Yeah,
If I ever played a sniper, I definitely would.
Stop it. Get some help.
It's just that I played it first with a controller, and so it just feels right.
And
I started that
And
way.
I learned to crawl first, and then I learned to walk. I can now run, I can jump, I can skip, I can prance. In that order.
All right.
If I played Halo now, I would play with a mouse and keyboard.
Oh, Halo, the Master Chief Collection.
I played Halo first with a mouse and keyboard.
How?
Because there was a PC
PC.
release back in the day, yeah.
Oh, of Halo 1?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I am
awesome.
excited for the Halo Collection.
Let me play
I'm
that.
going to pick it up.
I got it for the Xbox One at that same garage sale where I picked up my Xbox One.
Nice.
But I definitely got to get it on PC.
So anyway, full circle, Watch Dogs. We know nothing about it. You might see some angry tweets if it's not very good.
Yep. Team Doberman.
Team Doberman. Anyway, that's it, right?
Yeah.
Have a good one. Play some more.